All right, guys, it's time to dive into tonight's stuff. I'm gonna gloat. Can I gloat? Is it all right if I gloat a little bit?
Do it.
Okay. The Turtleheads podcast um are chirpers.
Ugh,
They like to talk.
my
And they did a
favorite.
lot of talking. And for a quarter, they had to feel really good about things. And then they decided that they were going to be the poor man's Duke, which is what they are. Threw a bunch of interceptions. Ohio State wins going away. 37-17. It was a 19.5 point spread. Chris took the over. He was one of the brave ones who took the over. And dude won some money. And I'll tell you what, Aaron, there were a lot of people that came very close to nailing the score on this one. There was a 36-17, 1 point off. That was Monk. He was one
Yeah.
point off. And I think there was a 39-17. Again, 1 point off just on the other side of that. So there was a lot of people that almost nailed this score. What were your initial thoughts, Aaron, of Ohio State's victory? Because I'm sure you've got some thoughts.
I do. You know, they came off to a slow start. Not really surprised after a bye week. I think a lot of times we expect that sort of thing. Um, Thankfully, the defense came ready. I'll keep it real. Thankfully, the defense came ready. This could have got real ugly real fast if they hadn't. And honestly, I can only think of a handful of times in my lifetime that Ohio State comes out firing on all cylinders on both sides of the ball. So people getting up in arms over that, I get it. It's alarming in the moment, but looking back on it, it's kind of like, is it really new? Because they've always been this way, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's like an Ohio State culture thing. I don't know, but whether it was Cooper, Tressel, Fickle, Meyer, it didn't really matter. They've always come out flat, and it's just like I said, a handful of times have I ever seen them show up and just play whistle to whistle. And most recent time I can think of is against Georgia last year. But aside from that, they don't show up in the beginning of games, and I don't know why. Um, Let me think. I think somebody in there commented on the offensive line. It was Brian, and I agree. I'm not going to call them garbage, but I will say this: they need to figure their lives out because whatever's going on can't continue. That is not a championship offensive line. Um, is it the talent? Is it the coaching? I don't know. I don't know. I wish I did. I'd love to be at practice to see what the heck's going on out there. You would think practicing against the defensive line talent, at least that they have, that maybe the performances would be better, but I don't know. And then speaking of the defensive line, they did a nice job for the most part. They did a nice job. And I don't know if it's inconsistency or if they're finding their way or if it was just simply a better matchup against Maryland. I don't know yet. And that I think the rest of the season is going to give us that answer. And another thought I have is I'm cool if Chip Trayanum stays the running back one, guys. That's how could you turn on Travion? I'm not turning on him. I just feel like Chip has the durability. He gets the job done. There's a reason that Coach Day put in Chip against Notre Dame on that last play, guys, and I can't help but think it. The dude's power, and he's fast. He gets the job done. He protects the football too. Um, and finally, I think it's clear to me that McCord is a lot closer to Krenzel than he is Stroud, and I know a lot of people have said this already, including myself. But this last game really just it just drove that point home for me. Because you got Marvin Harrison streaking down the middle of the field. How Maryland allowed that to happen is beyond me, but it is what it is. He got there, and somehow McCord still underthrew him. He also underthrew Julian Fleming. I forget what quarter it was, but when he had to slide and make that catch, underthrown. He's got an underthrowing problem. I don't know if that's just his arm talent, or if it's confidence. But I'm starting to think that it's just his talent, because it's been that way all season through 5 games, and he's had plenty of time to practice and get this thing down. So we can't really blame it on him not knowing plays or not having confidence to run them. But for me, that's just how it is, man. Eric, what'd you think?
Yeah, so I got a lot of thoughts. Number one, let's embrace the fact that this team is more 2002 than they are
Yeah,
2014. It's just time to embrace it. We're gonna
yep,
win. If we're gonna win, it's gonna be defensively.
yep.
Big Penn State. If you're gonna beat Penn State, it's gonna be a because your defense. You're gonna beat that team up north, and I have some serious doubts about that right now. It's gonna be because your defense. We go to West Lafayette this week and we win. It's going to be because of our defense. Okay? So let's just embrace it. It's time to embrace that. Offensively, this team is limited. It stinks that we have to say that, given the fact that you got two of the best wide receivers in all of football on your roster. But what can you do? You're just a limited team right now. I don't know what's going on with the offensive line blocking in the run game. They do a decent job in the pass game. Now they struggled a little bit at first in the first quarter. I think McCord took 2 sacks in the first half, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
One was on a third down.
Hmm.
Um, but the run blocking is atrocious. They haven't got to the second level one time this year. I can't remember of one time where the offensive line has gotten to the second level and blocked a linebacker. It's just not happening. I don't know if it's scheme. I don't know if it's personnel at this point, but there's an issue with the run game coordinator that Ryan Day labeled Fry with. It's not working. It's not working. So that needs to be fixed. Um, but but I want to give mad props to the Ohio State fans on Saturday. When we had the misfortune of buffing the snap on the punt, which we all thought it was a fake punt, the way it looked to us. Of course, on television, you all saw where it was the snap was bad. And then Maryland, we literally spotted them 7 points. Okay. I can't blame the defense on that. It would have been great if the defense would have held them to a field goal there. Okay. Awesome job. That you applaud. But you literally spotted them 7 points. Okay. And if you take that misfortune away, the defense gave up 10 points the whole game to an offense that is statistically one of the best in the Big Ten. I say great job defense. But that play, that first touchdown, just sucked the life out of the horseshoe. The fan base was just like, "Oh, what?" And we didn't get it back. We had zero momentum until Josh Proctor said, "I'm going to step in front of this,"
Yeah.
and had one of the best plays of the season. And from that moment on, you saw the defense just come alive. They were like sharks with blood in the water, man. And the defensive line, you called it, Aaron, the defensive line all of a sudden came to life in this game, especially in the second half on third down. And the shoe was loud on third down. This will be the second best crowd we'll get this year for an Ohio State game. The best will be on against Penn State, obviously. They'll be loud that day. Those are my initial thoughts. Let's jump into letter grades. Aaron, we'll start with the defense first since they've been the best part. What letter grade did you give the defense and why?
I gave them an A plus. I get it. They gave up 17 points, but you said it best there. They spotted them 7 right in the jump. And Maryland took advantage of a solid situation, and that's how this game is played. They're going to score points, especially an offense as prolific as they are and have shown themselves to be. But I'm going with an A plus, man. We got to the quarterback, we got home, like Chris is saying. We produced 2 turnovers, through Proctor. It was a pick 6. That was huge. That was massive play. We needed that right when it happened. And then we got another pick towards the end of the game that really, I think, the tides had kind of turned at that point, but that really, really turned it in our favor for good. I feel like um, Eichenberg had himself a day. Steel Chambers had a great day. I think Eichenberg had 13 tackles,
Yeah.
and I think Chambers had close to that as well, 11 or 12, I think. So I mean, the linebackers were playing out of their minds. The secondary was physical. The secondary, man, is playing just. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of that. I'm a secondary guy, and I am just enjoying this. If we could get the front four on the same page, and I feel like we're trending that direction, but I think we need to see it a little bit more before we can really say, like, yes, the whole defense is on the same page. But from the linebackers back, I feel like they're there. They've got it figured out. But I feel like they're really doing good. Who did you say it was? Was it Jackson? I think it was Jackson got in there, and they really started.
Oh, on the Kenyatta Jackson, number
Yeah,
97. He
yeah,
wears the right number, doesn't he?
he does. And I'll tell you, I think that kid is the answer. I'm not sold on Jack Sawyer, and I really haven't been. I feel like it's there. I feel the same way about Jack Sawyer that I did about Zach Harrison. The talent is there, but for whatever reason, it's just not happening. But final grade, A+ for the defense.
Yeah, I'm at a A minus. So right there with you. And Chris said that his letter grade was A minus as well, for the defense. So yeah, I'm happy with the defense, dude. Like, if we can get this all year long, I know that at some point they're going to probably give up somewhere in the 20s to somebody. If we could just get the offense that day to click like they did in the second half of this game,
Mm-hmm.
uh, then, like Wickerham's saying here, then we've got something. We can compete against anybody. Flipping it over now to the offense, and Brian Oberst says, "Do we need to get a new offensive line coach or recruit better?" I don't want to. I don't want to quit on Fry because I like the guy. I love how he talks. He was the guest speaker at the Skull session. Sound like he was cutting a promo from like the late '80s in wrestling. Like, he was missing from his like pregame speech was brother. Like, he was like, "We're gonna go out there and we're gonna dominate on both sides of the ball." And I'm like, dude, just throw a brother at the end of that sentence, and you've got it down. Like, McMahon will be calling you up, man. Um,
Yes.
it was fantastic. I posted the video of that on our Facebook page. Go back and watch it from Saturday. It's hilarious. It's fantastic. Even the guys behind me were like, they kept going, brother, because it was so good. Oh man,
Dude,
but
I, I th-
we need to recruit better. We need to develop better. Maybe we need a new blocking scheme, Aaron. I don't know. The offensive line. I thought we were turning the corner a little bit, and maybe we were, and maybe the scheme is set for Henderson, and Chip runs better with a different scheme. I don't know.
I I would love to blame it on them being new and not having time to gel, but that'd be a lie. They've had time. I'm at this point, I feel like there is so much emphasis on recruiting quarterbacks and wide receivers that they've left out the offensive line. Cuz I mean, when was the last time we pulled a 5-star offensive lineman?
Donovan Jackson from Texas. He was a
That's it.
junior this
Name
year.
another one though. We missed on
The year before that, we had Larry Paris Johnson Jr. from
he's gone
Cincinnati.
right.
He's
But I'm
starting left
saying
tackle at Arizona.
look at Georgia, look at Alabama.
Oh, it's a
They
turnstile.
look at Clemson. They know that the game starts and ends with the offensive line and defensive line, and they go out and they do whatever it takes to make sure that line of scrimmage is secure. We don't do that, and I don't understand why. So to me, this is a recruiting issue. There's too much emphasis. We've got NFL wide receivers riding the bench right now and nobody to block for Kyle McCord. That's a problem.
But here, okay. let's slow down. The pass blocking's not terrible, Aaron.
It's not, but it could be better.
Well,
And I'm not just
a
talking
lot
about
of things
pass
could be
blocking.
better.
Listen, I'm not just talking about pass blocking. It's the overall blocking ability is what I'm getting at.
I thought we would get a push up the middle in the run game. It's not there.
It's not.
We are getting beat at the line of scrimmage badly. And you go back and you watch Notre Dame, who we thought at the time had the best offensive line that we've seen. Okay, we all said that. They were getting beat at the line of scrimmage by Duke, and they got beat at the line of scrimmage by Louisville. That's how Louisville beat them. Was they beat them at the line of scrimmage. And my eyes tell me that Penn State and that darn team from up north are destroying their opponents at the line of scrimmage. And if we're having trouble at the line of scrimmage against Maryland and against Notre Dame, who Louisville didn't and Duke didn't, that tells me in those two football games we're in trouble.
Yes, big trouble.
We have got to clean up the offensive line issues. They need to get, as Coach Fry said, they need to get vicious. There's no viciousness to them. You know, you talked about that penalty, that 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty that Fryer had, you know, where he jumped on the guy. Whatever happened to driving your opponent to the dirt? We haven't seen it.
We haven't, because what he did was threw him on the ground and then pounced on him. He didn't really drive him into the dirt. You know, I'm not making an excuse for the penalty. I'm with you. That I don't feel like that should have been called, but I understand why it was. And okay, yeah, Lenny, I understand they're not good this year, but during their dynastic years, all offensive line. Same thing with Clemson. Same thing with Georgia right now. Offensive line.
Yeah, they need to do it from the get-go. It's
Yes.
Also Ryan Day. Why does Ryan Day need to get angry about something or someone to get aggressive? It was the official this week. Like, I so wanted him to take the mic after the game and be like, "Where's the official at? Where's he at?" Because that was
like, was he sending that ref's wife Snapchats or something?
Dude,
like that dude had a personal problem with Day.
Dude, okay, let's break this down. I know we're off topic, but we got to break this down, dude.
It's good with me. Let's do it.
That official needs fired.
He does.
That guy, the Big Ten should fire him immediately because he got a personal vendetta against Ryan Day about something. That second 15-yard penalty when they were like second and 33 and we throw the pass to Harrison and we got the second penalty on Ryan Day from sideline. The first one was a sideline warning. Second one was a sideline whatever.
Interference or something.
Interference. Ryan was behind the white line, and the guy literally gets accidentally. He takes a banana route. If you played baseball, it took a banana route to like run into him. Like, dude. Ryan's like, I'm not even on the field, dude. And he throws a flag on him.
Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson were even like, yo, that's we don't understand that. That's a bad call. Like, they even said that on television. So, like, you know, if the broadcasters or the announcers have to address it, something's off.
Then he throws the penalty on Xavier Johnson, and he didn't throw the flag. Go back and watch. He didn't throw the flag right away. He waited to see what the play was, and right before he catches the touchdown, he throws it out. Dude.
Yeah, you can't tell me there wasn't something going on.
That's when Ryan Day went off. And
he bet the under. He bet the under. That was his problem.
If we find out that that's true,
he's gone. He'll never ref another game.
Given today's environment, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
It's not.
My dad's been saying all year to me that he thinks the refs, some of them have this fixed because of that. And I'm like, oh, come on.
We've seen it in the NBA.
That one, it sure felt like that was on purpose, dude. it was kind of like, oh, come on, man. Anyways, let's get back to our, what are we on? Defensive letter grade. I went with or offensive letter grade. Sorry, I went with a B. Chris went with a B minus. And Chris's notes here, let me read them real fast. He said on why he gave the offense a B minus. He said anemic run game and bad line play were his reasoning behind the B minus. Aaron, what letter grade did you give the offense?
I gave him a C, and
Ooh,
I kind of averaged that out because that first half was, I have not seen anything like that out of Ohio State in years. Okay, and then the second half they made up for it. So I just kind of took that average, and I'm going to go with a C.
all right, fair enough, fair enough. All right, let's hand out some Buckeye Leafs, Aaron.
Do it.
So, because there's a lot to choose from. But let me throw out some of these comments before we do that because there's a really good question in here. Mike Grigsby says Fryer is overpaid. Right now, I can't argue that.
Me either.
I can't argue that comment. Um, that is he's whatever's going on there. It is not working. Brian Oberst, if we as fans see the blocking scheme needs to change, how does the coaches not see that? Can you change a blocking scheme in the middle of the season, Aaron? I mean, maybe you can if it's like you go from like what, like zone to man on man blocking, you know?
They wouldn't change it. They would make adjustments, is what they would do. And it could be that, zone blocking can get complicated because, especially if the D line stunts or does things like that, which most of them do. So when you have a brand new offensive line, and every time you play a team, it gets different. So, I mean, to me, it kind of makes sense that we're a second half team because we have to adjust to that. And it takes the players time to see that too. So it's, you know what I mean? It's difficult to explain if you haven't played in this type of offense or in this environment.
Right.
A lot of our listeners, I understand, they grew up in the Power I days. You know what I mean? And most, if any, perhaps coached in recent years. So this idea of what zone is it can be confusing to you guys. So it's hard to look at that. But what it is tandem blocking. But if there's a stunt and you have new offensive linemen that don't know or they don't recognize fast enough due to a lack of experience, that causes the issues that we're seeing.
Yeah. When we had Steve Raring, who was an offensive lineman in the mid 2000s, on as our guest over the off season, he talked about how that he would have hated playing on this offensive line because it doesn't create physicality. It's not a hat on a hat. It's not like you see that guy right there. That's your assignment. You go block him. You go put him on his butt.
Yeah.
Like that. He goes, that's what we would want because then we can fire off the ball and it makes us more physical. We can be physical. The way that this scheme is set up, this zone blocking scheme, is you're blocking an area. Well, what happens when you have multiple people in that area, or the person you thought was in your area all of a sudden adjusts and moves, and you know how defenses can become confusing. And then
Mhm.
it's like how many times have we seen Simmons go to block and he's blocked nobody but air?
Well, and that's the problem. That's why I say it's tandem blocking. You're right in what you're saying, that it's you're responsible for a gap on the field, and in that situation, yes, what he's
Donald
what yep what he's saying is true. You should be moving to the next level to hit somebody. Or if you notice a blitz, you should be picking that up. But a lot of times these guys are whiffing on these or just not seeing them or whatever. And to your point, Erica, what you just said on what Steve said, it is reactionary to a point, because he's right. In the old days, in the Power I days, you're going to attack somebody, you're putting a hat on somebody. But these days, it's, oh, you're responsible for, the B gap or what have you. The center and the guard hit their man, but maybe a linebacker comes down. That leaves, we'll say, the left tackle, okay, the center and left guard, they got the shade. They take that guy down. That leaves the left tackle to take on two people, the defensive end and the linebacker. and that doesn't always pan out the way we want it to, and that takes
Mm-mm.
time to gel. In
When it,
theory, this
yeah.
goes really well, but
Well, and I'll give you an example of when it does go well. Remember the big run that Henderson had for the touchdown against Notre Dame?
bingo.
Go back and look at the blocking on that. Everybody kind of hit somebody, and it was like the Red Sea, and then
Uh-huh.
it's speed. But it's just not working enough. And so when it's not working, that's why you're seeing 2 yards, a yard and a half, 3 yards. Oh, we had a 4 yard run. Yay! It looked huge. And it might work for Henderson better.
We lack
But
consistency is it.
yeah, even that run that Mayan Williams had, like he's breaking 3 or 4 tackles to get 10 yards.
Right.
It's not like the line of scrimmage has moved 5 yards and he's getting 5 yards in before anybody gets a hand on him, which is what we're used to. That's what we're used to as Buckeye fans. All right, let's roll here. Let's start with the offensive player of the game, Aaron. Offensive player of the game.
I can't go any other way than MHJ, man. Guy had himself another day, didn't he?
He sh- he sure did, man. Let's pull out his stats here for you real fast. 8 receptions, 163 yards, and a touchdown. That touchdown he scored 2 times in a row to get that TD. An average of 20.4 yards per catch, and on doing it all on apparently a bummed ankle from the Notre Dame game from 2 weeks ago. So, good on him. Chris's offensive player of the game was actually Kyle McCord. He gave that bad boy to McCord on what was a tremendous second half for him. His best game statistically in yardage he's ever had at Ohio State was 19 of 29, 320 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he did the majority of that in the last 3 quarters. So you take away his first quarter stats, he had a pretty doggone good game. It's
He
just
did.
that first quarter was ugly. Ugly. I went with Harrison Jr. as well. Let's see if any of you put in the comments who your players of the game were. I haven't seen any yet. However, someone did say, let me see if I can. Here we go. Mark Swink said his favorite play was Mayan crushing that defensive back. Yes, that was. You felt that one in the stands. It
That was
was a
nice to see.
ooh, yeah. You could feel that one. It was a that again. That's what I'm talking about. That's right, Chris. Yeah, the Turtle Head podcast. Those guys said that they were going to shut down MHJ. Yeah, that didn't happen so much, huh? Yeah, no, I don't think so.
At all.
Defensive player of the game, Aaron.
Well, since I have a couple minutes because Chris isn't here, I'm going to do it. Okay, here we go. I got 3. Eichenberg for his tackle amount. Don't look at me
Okay,
that way.
okay.
Josh Proctor for the pick 6, turning the tide, and Lathan Ransom for the way that he's played. That dude is just killing it. He carried his momentum from what he did, at Notre Dame and a couple games before that. He carried it into this one. And the guy he's playing lights out right now. Physical, making tackles, not missing many. Interception this game to kind of seal the deal a little bit there. And I got to give it to those 3 guys.
So we have Chris went with Josh Proctor, who had 7 tackles and an interception. Really energized this defense and the entire 104,000 plus that were there. I went with Tommy Eichenberg. He had 13 tackles, 7 solo, was filling the gap all day. Maryland could not run the ball. And Tommy was basically like, you're not going to run the football. Even when they did and they would get a couple yards here or there, he was there to clean up the dirt. So, there you go. Brian Oberst has Marvin Harrison has his MVP on offense. Chris says, who didn't see this coming? Talking about you picking 3 guys. Yeah.
Love it.
Nick is agreeing with you. Multiple players of the game, of course. See, Aaron, you're getting a reputation, man.
Hey, I love these guys. It
Good one
works.
here. Yeah, Brian Oberst, Stover was amazing.
He was.
Dude, that touchdown he had, I hope that Maryland kid's okay. The safety coming across, did you see what happened? He had the angle, and I thought he was going to make the tackle, and it was like 2 steps away, and I think he had one of those injuries where like the Achilles rolls up because it was just like leg stopped working. Like I'm running and then no leg gone, and he just bit it.
He
Uh
on TV, I don't know if you saw this live like there, but on TV he was grabbing where his hamstring was.
oh, pulled a hammy then
Yeah, which is
probably.
very painful too.
Oh
So
yeah, I've had that one in baseball. Yeah, Mark Swick says Proctor and Ransom on his defensive MVPs. Um,
sniped. That's funny.
you know those okay. You know those guards who sit on top of the towers at the horseshoe.
Yeah. They said Cade Stover scoring one
He's
today.
like he's like I'm a Stover fan. You guys are running. Well, we had a drone on the field.
Yeah, what
Did
was
you
up
know
with
that?
that? Yeah, they said it on TV.
Somebody had to be. It had to be at like one of the tailgates. Someone flew their drone up over and into the stadium onto the field. It's like,
Idiots.
whoa, okay, yeah, yeah. All right. So let's move on to let's go to the defensive play of the game because Nick Quint, yeah, hurt my feelings. Somebody
Yeah.
had barbecue and
Yep.
didn't invite Johnson, and it hurt his feelings all over again.
Yeah.
The Burke
Denzel
hit.
Ward.
Yeah, the Denzel Ward, this time Denzel Burke hit.
Yep.
I mean,
Loved it.
almost identical. Same team, same position, almost identical. What was your defensive play of the game, Aaron?
I would love to give that one because I'm a fan of big hits
I mean, you
like
might
that.
as well. You give multiple Buckeye Leaves every week.
All right, let's do it. All right, we'll go with that hit and then Proctor's pick six.
Of course. Of
Hey,
course.
you did it to yourself, man.
I know. I would expect nothing less than you do multiple. I went with the Josh Proctor pick six, and here's why. Again, like I said, we had no momentum. That play changed the entire outcome of that football game because he read. By the way, is he not having a great year, Aaron?
Oh, man, dude, all of them are. Igbinosun, I understand a lot of people have a beef with him a little
He
bit,
played
but
he played good yesterday.
dude, he has done just fine all season long. The kid is raw, okay? He's not polished, but geez, it's his what is it? It's his freshman year. He's a true freshman, isn't he? I know he's
Igbinosun? No, he's a sophomore.
okay.
He was
Either way,
he was a true freshman last year for Ole Miss.
okay. So regardless, the kid he's not polished. He's raw. You know what I mean? But he's gonna get there. And
Oh,
I mean, dude, watch him from Indiana through the last game against Maryland, dude. He is coming along fine.
he is so physical.
He
Like
is.
those wide receivers are just bruised up at the end of the game because people, oh, he's so handsy. Like it's not like he's handsy as in like he's grabbing. And I know there's receivers do it too. There's some touchy grabby stuff going on there. But like
Normal.
when you come at him, boom! I mean, he's gonna absolutely hit you. I mean,
You're playing him.
yeah. At the end of the day, you're watch the receivers. They all go up to the officials complaining about him because he is so physical. And I know we don't want to hear this because we're Ohio State and we're a Big Ten team. You go and watch the SEC play, and then come watch the tiddlywinks that the Big Ten does a lot. There's a big difference there. He is used to the SEC physicality,
Yep.
where you can get away with more than you do here, and I love it. I'm all for it, man. I think we should all be. They should all be that way.
Thank you. Yes,
Go for it.
yeah, dude. That's I 100% am on board with that, man. Because like I was thinking about this earlier. Because I mean, I was okay. So I was watching the Steelers game. All right, and it got me thinking. I was watching their secondary. By the way, they beat Baltimore today, but it's because they were physical. They were more physical than Baltimore. So I was just thinking like Igbinosun plays the same way that I saw today. And I was thinking, like, man, if we could get the whole defense to play the way that kid does, the Big Ten and maybe the rest of the country would be in trouble. Okay, the linebackers are doing it for the most part, except for, I mean, Chambers has his days, but Eichenberg is there every week. The secondary,
Steele's assignments though a lot of time cause him to have to be
oh, he's a
covering
coverage guy.
he's a cover. Yeah, he's covering guys.
Yeah.
So it's not like he can just run up there and just, every now and then they'll let him blitz. And if he gets a free run on a quarterback, he will kill a quarterback.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
he's not afraid of it.
Yeah, I didn't mean he's like incapable. It's just our style versus
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. That's all. No big deal. He's totally capable. But man, if we could get just all 11 guys on defense to play that way, the Big Ten would be in trouble, man.
So Chris's defensive play of the game was the pick six from Proctor. His offensive play of game was the Stover touchdown, McCord to Stover touchdown, where the sniper on the north side took out the free safety. So that's what we're claiming, anyways. What was your offensive play of the game, Aaron? And don't tell me it was Kyle McCord's pass to Chip Trainum for negative 19 yards.
No. I don't know what the heck happened there, but no, absolutely not.
It goes down in the books as the Chip Trainum. Poor Chip had one reception for like negative 19 yards on the game, man. That was terrible.
My offensive play of the game was the Cade Stover 44-yard touchdown.
Both of you guys, okay.
I like the play, man. I love Cade Stover. I think the kid, he's good, man. I think he's going to be an asset on if he could play for a quarterback like Pat Mahomes on Sundays, the kid's going to be an asset, man.
The actual best play, and I don't know if this showed on television the same way. So after McCord's terrible pass to Chip Trainum that set up a 2nd and 33 or whatever it was, and then he hits Harrison on the sideline with the over the head. I mean, it wasn't over the shoulder. It was literally over the head, twinkle toes on the sideline. Amazing catch. The very next play, they ran a draw it up in the dirt, like something you've never seen before, where it literally looked like Harrison stops on the play, just stays there for a second. The cornerback goes with the other receiver. The linebacker comes over and goes, "What's going on?" And then all of a sudden, beep, there he goes, and he throws it over him into the. It was like, oh, now we're playing that way, huh? Like it was just like, again, the Ryan Day gets ticked off at the official. It's going to take it out on Maryland with his creativity. I know there's more of that in there with him. I just want to see it more from like quarter number one. Why wait for then? But that was a great play. My play was the over the head catch on 2nd and 33. I mean, after you get that play and you're that far back, you're like, okay, we're going to run it, set up the punt. It's a close game. No, they go for it. I right before that play, I said, you know what? They should go deep because the worst thing that could happen is an interception, which would be no different than a punt, and you might get a pass interference, or Harrison might just make another great catch. That was my offensive play of the game. Brian Oberst agreed with you on Stover's touchdown. Let's see. Chris says, love the way he covered the ball going into the end zone.
Yep.
Chris, send him to CJ Stroud. Is he talking about Harrison?
No, Cade Stover.
Oh, a tight end. Okay.
Because I said he'd be an asset to a quarterback that can get him the ball on Sundays.
There you go. Yeah. This is another great one. Nick Quint, Fleming's catch where he's falling or slips and catches it. Yeah, he was actually sliding because the ball was so low. It was underthrown really bad. Yeah, he was again, that one and the one earlier in the game where Harrison had to wait for the football and then about got decapitated where he ducked and then the next guy tackled him. That should have been catch touchdown. If he hits him in stride, that's both those guys. Those are touchdowns. He's got to quit underthrowing the football. You're right. Who was the guy who put Brian Oberst? Who was the guy who put the big hit on the Maryland QB when he tried to run?
I know JTT got to him.
JTT sacked him.
Yeah.
I also want to say, did Williams get a sack as well? Let me look up.
No,
fast.
it was 51. What's his name? Mike
Oh,
Hall.
Mike Hall
Mike
Jr.
Hall.
Mike Hall
Yeah.
Jr.
Yeah.
Mike Hall Jr. Got a half a sack on that one. JT got a sack and a half, so JT also got a half a sack. I love the way that Kenyatta Jackson plays when he's in the game.
Yes.
I feel like all of a sudden JTT plays better. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because he's quicker around the edge, and therefore the offensive line has to concentrate more to Kenyatta, and it leaves JT with better lanes. I don't know. I just feel like when Kenyatta Jackson's in the game, the defensive line plays better. It's weird.
I say keep him on the field. I'm with you on that, Eric.
Who is number 55?
Do we have a 55?
I don't think we did.
I don't know.
Ty Hamilton's 58, and Michael Hall Jr.'s 51.
Yeah.
I don't know,
To
babe.
think. Is it the long snapper?
If you need me to wear a 55 jersey for tonight, I will.
Good Lord. It's me again.
Sonny Styles, that's right. I do remember that now. Sonny Styles did hit him. Yes.
Dude,
Yes.
Sonny Styles was cracking dudes yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Hey.
several times.
Somebody put a tweet out there yesterday that said that their starting line would be kick JTT inside with Michael Hall and start Sonny Styles down on end with Kenyatta Jackson. And I was like,
you know what? That's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
yeah. Okay, yeah, she's thinking of 51. That's Michael Hall Jr. Yep. Brian from New York. Nice having wide receivers so wide open. Throws don't have to be perfect. Irish wide receivers not in the same class, and OC can't design plays to get them open. He's talking about Notre Dame's inability to get wide receivers open last night against Louisville. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was really, really bad.
But I was hoping they'd win.
I was too, because it makes that win look better for Ohio State.
Right.
I mean, they really need each other to keep winning.
Yeah.
Brian, I watched that game against Louisville. I agree. Your offense looks broken, man. I don't know.
Did they give up after the loss?
It's almost like their offense is almost like Hartman, go win us the game. I don't know, man. They looked beat up yesterday. They looked physically beat up and tired. That was their third primetime game, second in a row on the road. They looked physically beat up and tired, in my opinion. Brian Ober says McCord floats the ball on deep passes. He does not have the same arm as CJ Stroud. I agree. But give him time. Let's see what happens. CJ Stroud 5 games in didn't look like CJ Stroud, right now. So, yeah. What if McCord didn't bounce back in the second quarter and in the second half? We'd be a lot more worried, wouldn't we? But he did. He's just got to start better. I don't know. I mean, Brian Day was asked about this. Why is McCord getting off to slow starts? He goes, I don't know. Maybe he needs to go run laps before the game. I don't know. It's a good question. Some guys, until they're in the heat of the battle, it's like that's what brings it out of them. And they got to get hit to wake up to play. I've heard of that before.
It's performance anxiety. It could be, I can't diagnose anybody, obviously, and I'm not in the locker room, but I can't help but think that because, it's every game and it's normal, but that's on the coaching staff and maybe even some of his teammates to help him get calmed down.
Brian, don't get me started on JT Barrett. That's a soapbox that I don't even want to open up tonight.
You don't want to talk about the most prolific quarterback in Ohio State history?
Terrible thrower of the football.
He won games, though.
He won games. He won.
Position-wise.
Let me tell you something. Cardale Jones won games. He was perfect as a starter. But you bench him for the guy who could run because you have an offensive coordinator in the booth who couldn't. This is what Notre Dame's dealing with, by the way.
Yeah,
Got an offensive coordinator in the booth who didn't know how to call plays that year. They screwed up 2015 so royally bad
they
because of
did.
that.
They did.
Yeah. Yeah, poor Brian. He's talking about his coach, man. Yeah, former Buckeye, defensive-minded head coach and inexperienced OC. I'll keep it to OSU here, but for your information, I have a daughter at Notre Dame and twin boys at OSU. Dude,
Oh
good for
man,
you, man.
that's cool. That is really something to be proud of.
All three were at the Notre Dame game. Boys said it was sad. Dude, Brian, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it
So, are
is.
you like, on game days for the Ohio State Notre Dame game? Were you like AJ Hawk's wife and Brian and Brady Quinn's, who was also Brady Quinn's sister? Did you go half and half on the jersey? I gotta know. Inquiring minds want to know. Sonny Styles hits hard, and you sometimes think the guy he hits won't get back up. Yeah. Who would have ever thought Denzel Burke would have put a lick on someone like that? Like Denzel Burke was like, "Don't touch me," kind of defensive back, And this year he's like, "Dude, I'm just gonna blow people up."
He's hey, you know what? I think that Georgia game really opened up their eyes last season because again, the physicality. Why did Georgia beat us? Physical. Split hoodies.
House divided.
Nice.
Good
Nice.
for you, Brian. That's really awesome to know, man. Thanks for
It
sharing that
is.
with us.
That's cool.
That's cool. You can watch the Always Irish and the OHO podcast. You'd be like, I'm invested interest in both, man. That's cool.